I'm going to give you some tips to blend in better in France, or to be more accepted faster. The first thing that you need to do, you need to speak French to them. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be very fluent, but you need to at least engage with them the first time in French. I mean, there are some exceptions in very touristy places like in Paris or the like. You can go straight into English, but most of the time outside Paris or in place not so touristy, you have to at least make the effort to start a sentence in French, if only to ask them, bonjour, parlez-vous anglais, and do you speak English? They will appreciate that, and then you can get going. There's nothing worse you arriving assuming they know English very well and start with your long sentence and the likes, and after it's a bit awkward, and there is the assumption that everybody would know English. I've known people, they came to, when I was in Australia, they were going to Spain to work, and I asked them, do you know any Spanish? And they say, oh, no, they will speak English over there. And the second thing is you have to say bonjour. Before you do anything, you have to say bonjour. You cannot say enough bonjour in a day in France. It is something that is just incredible. You have to. I remember I was in Australia recently, and I got stopped by a cab, by a cop. Sorry, not by a cab. I was stopped by a cop, and he asked me to put my window down, and he said, "Oh, you realize you were doing this?" So I was very surprised, because even cops in France, they say bonjour before they do anything. Before you do anything, make sure that you say bonjour, and in any interaction that you have. And the interesting thing, it doesn't have to be only with shop owners. I mean, when you go in a shop, obviously say bonjour to the shop owner, but even with others, because in a way you are in a quote unquote in a private place with other people. So if there are people already there, you say bonjour. And the same goes with going to a restaurant with bon appetit, enjoy your meal. It's something very strange that when I when I didn't go in France for a while, it always surprised me. Is when you go to a restaurant, in a way, it's like you go to a private gathering. You can actually be sitting in a restaurant, and someone comes in and he says bon appétit. Bien sûr, bonjour, bonjour, of course, and bon appétit. So there is more interaction as soon as you are in a private place. Now, when you go to a shop, the process can seem a bit tedious when you finish your shopping. Let's say you buy something, and you give the money. They say thank you, and then after they say you say au revoir, and then you say au revoir back, and just as you go, they say bonne journée, and it's good manner, I think, to say you too, vous aussi. So it's a several step process. As usually, it's not always the same model, but usually it's merci, au revoir, bonne journée. So there is the three, and sometimes you might come across a bit rude if you don't answer to one of those. So that there's a three-step process that you need to bear in mind. And another tip, I suppose, and at the beginning I talk about trying to speak French, is some people think they speak French quite well, but they need to understand that there's a difference between tu, which is very casual, and vous, which is not formal, but I suppose it's when you don't know someone, you say vous. And so when you don't know someone, unless it's a child, I think that would be the only exception I would give. Unless it's a child, someone under 15 or the likes, you can say tu, but for everybody else, you have to say vous. This is important, otherwise you come across as quite rude, even if you don't mean it. And because it's quite formal in a way. It's the same with surnames. Like here, I get caught all the time when I ask what's your name. They mean my surname, and in Australia, they always mean my first name. So there's actually a few places online that I fill in forms, and and they call me Mr. Ben, because I think that Ben or Benoit is my surname, because I'm so used to give my first name. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. When I ask your name, don't say your first name. Usually, say your last name and then your first name, and then yes, make sure that you don't say to anyone actually, unless it's a child over there.